So for this activity, it relates to the midpoint. So first thing you can do while we're waiting is label each segment with letters and write down the coordinates of each point. So in this first one, this first line here, we might just do a couple anyway. So let's call this line A. Line segment A. So label the coordinates. So this is going to be 8 and 16. So those of you just turning up, we'll do the core. So go to core on section 2, midpoint. So go to that. And we'll just do one together. So I call this line A, line segment A, and you can call these B, C, D if you want later on. And it says to label the coordinates of each point, the endpoint. So this one here is -4, 4, -4, 4. So -4, 4. Now I want you to try to work out where do you think is the middle point? So I've given you the coordinates here. Maybe you can use them. So don't look at any formulas there. Just look at that and see if you can actually find the middle point on this line. So estimate the middle point. Estimate the middle point. So if you think you know the middle point, you can put in the chat. So chat box, line segment A. So let's call it A. And put in what you think are the coordinates of the middle point of this line here. Can you look and estimate and tell me the coordinates of A? So you can put that in the chat box. So those of you who just came, this is on the midpoint topic of core. So this section here, which is after the line segment, the distance of the line segment, we've done that already. So this is section 2. So this, we'll only do a couple of these today anyway, and then we'll move on. So label the coordinates. This is 8, 16, and this is -4, 4. So your middle is somewhere in here, isn't it? Somewhere in the middle. So you estimate what that would be. What would you write for the middle point? Okay, I'll wait for you to answer on the chat box. So put that in and see if you can work out what the middle is. Don't worry if you're wrong. There is a formula for it, but we'll learn that later. So just do it by estimation, just by looking. And then we can think about formulas and stuff after that. Okay, so when you think you know your answer, put that into the chat box. Okay, I've got one answer already. And put A as well, so I know what we're actually talking about. Can you look at it and kind of tell where the middle is? And there is a way we can do this without guessing. Maybe you can use these numbers. So when you've answered it, how could you use these numbers to get the middle? How do you think? So think about that for a minute. And we'll do it a formal way soon. There is a formula, but just try guessing. I'll record the lessons, but I'm not going to bother editing them. I'll make them an unlisted video, so they're not public. But I'll give you the link anyway when you do the worksheet. So you'll have to go through the video and find the bit you want to look at. And you got matrix work due Tuesday night, so get that done on time. Okay, We got some answers. Nipper, you forgot how to do it. We haven't done it yet. Just estimate. Okay, I got some estimates there, estimate. So I just want to find what is the middle coordinate. So if I'm looking at that, it's going to be down here somewhere. What about, would it be that point there, do you think? Kind of eyeballing it. Do you think it's that number there? So that would be 2, 10, yeah? But just by guessing. So we kind of just guess. It kind of looks like the middle, doesn't it? Because this here looks like too far, doesn't it? And this looks like that's too far. So I think it's probably that number there. But what you can do is make a triangle. Let's think about a triangle here. Oh, up to there, sorry. Let's go up to there. And down to there. I should use not eraser. Let's not highlighter. Let's do it this way. So come across. And let's see if we can do it by using these coordinates. And down to here. We could also go down here, but I don't want to cut across these lines here. So just make a triangle. And this point here would be -4. And we go up to 16, don't we? So 16 is up here, yeah? So if it's the middle point, wouldn't it be halfway between this and this, isn't it? We kind of make two. So if you want the length of this line, and you want the middle point, it would be, wouldn't it be 16 plus 4 divided by 2? Wouldn't that give you the middle, the average? So this is 4, and this is 16. And 16 plus 4 is 20. 20 divided by 2 is 10. Well, that looks all right. That's 10. So we draw across here. There. Okay, so we want to see if this is going to be 2 or not. So let's do across the x. So that would be 8 plus -4 divided by 2. That would be 4 divided by 2, which is 2. So all I did, I added the x values. So this number and this number here and 8. I put them in there and I divide by 2 to get the middle. So if you want the middle number, like the average, add the number, then divide by 2. So that gives us 2. So it looks like it's correct then, isn't it? That's the 2 there. So that looks to be 210 as the middle point. Okay. We got some other lines there. Let's move that up. I can get my hand to work. Right. So let's do one more. Okay, so how about this line? I'll clean that out so we can see what's going on. What about this line here? You can do the other two yourself if you want to try. But how about this line here, line B? So look at this point here. This is going to be 4. So this will be 4 and 8. So you just count up 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's 4, 8, right? And this point here is 9 minus 7, isn't it? So do you think you could estimate where the middle is? If it's a fraction, you've got a problem, don't you? You won't really be able to see. So it's not going to be, could it be there? Obviously, it's not there, is it? That can't be the middle point. What about there? That's too far. It's probably in here somewhere, which means it's going to be very difficult to actually find the middle just by looking. You might get it wrong. It could be about here. So let's take a look with the, with the numbers. So that was 4, 8. So make a triangle. So come across and down. Right, this would be the long way to do it, but the formulas will work out okay. So this here would be 9. So this is 9, 8. Yeah, the x value is 9 and the y coordinate is 8. 9.8 is this point. So if you want the middle of this line, you would have 9 plus 4 divided by 2. Okay, that's 13. 13 on 2, which is 6.5. So 6.5, somewhere along here. So 6.5. And the middle of this line would be 8 plus -7 divided by 2. 8 minus 7 on 2, that's a half. So a half here. So that point there is the 6.5 and a half. So that's, you just kind of add your two numbers and then divide by 2, okay? This is kind of a long way to do it, but the formula is actually the same. So let's go down. This is what I just explained here. So you've got 8.16, come down. This is 8.4. Okay, and then the middle of that number would be 8.10. Okay, 16 plus 4 divided by 2 will give you 10. That's this number here. So come across at 10. And the same on the bottom here. So you've got 8 on 4. This is minus 4 on 4. So the middle would be 2 on 4, 2, 4. So that would be 8 plus, so this number here is 8 plus -4 divided by 2, which is 4 on 2, which is 2. So 2 is the midpoint between -4 and 8. Okay, so add the end numbers and then divide by 2. And that's how you get your midpoint here. So that's the 10 there, and that's the 2 there, which is what we just did earlier. So that's the middle. And that just explains what, you can read it yourself anyway, but it's all there. This is the formula for the midpoint. You can read this yourself. But what we just did is here. Okay, we add the x coordinates, then divide by 2, and then add the y coordinates and divide by 2, where m is the midpoint, xm, ym. So let's see how we use the formula. Let's go down here. Okay, so let's look at this example. So find the coordinates of the midpoint xy for x -2, 6. Let's make a quick diagram. So -2, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So -2, 6, that's going to be x. Y is -6, -9. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, -6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So y is down there. So -6, -9. So this is your line here. And we want to find the middle of this here. So I would call it x1, y1. Make your other point x2, y2. And your xm, the x coordinate of the midpoint would be x1 plus x2 divided by 2. This is all done here. You don't have to copy it. So then we add the x values, which is -2 plus -6. And then divide by 2. You'll get -8 on 2, which is -4. So the x coordinate is -4. And now we want the y coordinate. So ym, m stands for midpoint, would be y1 plus y2 divided by 2. So add your two y coordinates. So 6 plus -9 divided by 2. 6 minus 9, that's -3 on 2. So that's your answer down there, here. So -3 on 2. You probably don't need the graph for these problems as long as you understand the formula. Graphing might help with the more complicated problems. Now this one, let's see. Now we're still using the formula, but it's giving you the midpoint. So this is actually xm. Let's call this xm, ym. So let's call that xm, ym. And let's call this x1. They call it A and B here if you want. So let B be A and B because we don't have that point. I could have called it x2, y2 or whatever. It doesn't matter. So if you want to call it x2, y2, you can also do that. So your formula again would be xm is x1 plus x2 on 2. But this time we actually know what xm is. We know the midpoint is 4. So you write 4 is x1, I call that x1, y1, which is 1 plus A. Let's call it A because I used A in the question. A on 2. So now it's just a matter of rearranging the equation to find this point B. So 2 4s are 8. 1 plus A will be 7. Okay, so A is 7. My diagram may be okay. Let's see what B is. So what about ym? So y1 plus y2 on 2. So y1 is 3 plus b. You can use any letter you want, or you can use y2 divided by 2 is equal to ym, which is -2. Okay, all you have is equations and you're substituting numbers, so not too much. So 3 plus b is -4. So b would be -7. Okay, which is what we got here. 7 and -7. That's point B. Okay, there's no axes drawn or anything, just a rough idea of the picture. So you're going to see these questions about medians. So the vertices of the triangle are given. Find the lengths of the medians. Now you're going to see this question, this kind of question in the homework, and you'll see this word median. The median is a line from the vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side. This is what a median is here, this special word. So if you've got a triangle, okay, and you've got a triangle, I'm not drawing this one in particular, but any triangle, so A, B, and C. Now the median from A to CB. Now you need to find the middle point of C. So get the midpoint here. So that's the midpoint. And the median is this line here. That's the median line from A to the midpoint of the other side. That's what it says here. So from the vertex A, this is vertex A, to the middle of CB. So these have been bisected here. These are equal lengths. So you need to find the lengths of these lines. So call that M, let's call it L1 for the median. So you need to calculate the length of that line. That's what this question is asking here. I won't do it all because it's quite long. So I've drawn the picture here. So you need to find the length of those 3 lines. These are all medians. So let's call that median 1, median 2, median 3. So you just calculate the midpoint first, and then you calculate the length of this line from the last chapter. Okay, that's how you do that one. That's what you do when you see the word median. Well, this looks like a Venn diagram, doesn't it? Okay, so let me just talk about this first. Now, many of your questions involve quadrilaterals. So a quadrilateral is any 4-sided object, any shape. So for example, that's a square, right? That's the quadrilateral as well. The square is in here. These are all squares go into here. That's the inside of the Venn diagram. But it's also a quadrilateral. And then you could have something like that, which is not really anything. All the lengths are different, all the angles are different. So this is a quadrilateral as well. You've got rectangles like that. You've got a trapezium or trapezoid, which is that shape where these lines are parallel. All of these are quadrilaterals. So you put a big circle around them. So anything in this big rectangle here is a quadrilateral, not only here. The shapes that go here are these unusual ones that are like that, some unusual shape. We know what squares look like. A rhombus. So what this is saying here is that a square is a rhombus as well. Okay, it's kind of complicated, and I'll explain more when we're at school, actually. Trapezium has two parallel sides. It could look like that. But also, a square is a trapezium because they have two parallel sides, right? It's a little bit complicated, and I'll talk more about this diagram as we go on. It's a little bit hard to do it online, though. But every shape is a quadrilateral, all of these shapes. And then we have more specific detail about the square. You know what a square is like, don't you? We have equal length sides like that, and we have 90-degree angles. And then you have rectangle here. Look at that. So you actually see squares as a special kind of rectangle. So all of these are squares. So these are squares. And these are rectangles, which includes squares as well, mind you. So a square is a special kind of rectangle. I think we'll talk more about this later when we come across the words again, right? So if you're not sure what a shape is, you can let me know online. So in the first exercise, we might just do a couple. Let's just do, I don't know, let's just pick those ones out. So we've got to find the midpoint between G and A. So let's look at that. G here is here and GA is there. So how can you do it without using the formula? So I guess I should try and draw a line. Let's see if I can draw a line there. Okay, from there to there. So what do you think the midpoint is? Can someone put it in the chat real quick? Estimate. What do you think is the midpoint of GA? Put in the chat now. I'll wait for you. You may use the endpoint. It's telling you not to use the formula though. So can you do it without the formula easily or not? Now this is A, so put it in like this in the chat box. So what is it? What do you think is the midpoint on that line? Okay, do that for a second. So what do you think? Do you get a fraction? It looks like it's going to be a fraction, isn't it? So just estimate, what do you think? I got one answer. Who else? Quick. Just guess. X first, Y. X and Y, remember, always X first. So who else? I got two answers. I know if you're listening now or not. So easy points. Three answers. You could help yourself a little bit if you made a new line. What if you made a new line from here down to there? Wouldn't that give you the midpoint? I've just made a new line. Now I made a rectangle, didn't I? I got two crossing lines that are the same length and same angle. So that actually should be the midpoint, shouldn't it? That may be one way you can help yourself with this. So it's looking to be what? So this is negative 1.5. And this would be 1, 2, 3, 3.5. Did you get that? Let's see what you got. Yeah. You just got to be careful where this is 0. This is your origin. So this is 0, 0, 0. All right, so go negative for that one there. Okay, what about AC? So you did that answer, so put that in. Let me clear this out. So how about AC now? A to C. So if you're using a tablet, you can do that. So give me the answer for AC. Now call this question C and tell me what is the midpoint. So if you like, cross the lines over. If you have a tablet, it's really easy. I recommend you get one. AC there. And if I want to help myself, I might cross the line over to make kind of like a rectangle. So your midpoint's here, isn't it? Somewhere here. And it might be a fraction. So if you want to help, you can make a new line. Oops. So kind of create a rectangle like that. Yeah, that's about right, isn't it? There. So I'm thinking that looks pretty good, doesn't it? They look like I've created a rectangle here using that. And you will find this later on. This is a rule later on. These will be equal and these will be equal when you have a rectangle, and this is the midpoint. So can you put in your chat box, what's that length there if you haven't done that? What's the midpoint? Okay, so do that one. So if it helps you, create two crossing lines, two diagonal lines. And some of you didn't know what diagonal was in the homework. These are diagonal lines. So if you've got a rectangle, these are diagonals. But most of you gave me the lengths. You didn't read the question properly. So these are diagonals. So I don't know if you didn't read it correctly or you just assumed to find the lengths. But these are the diagonal lines. All right, so never mind. Okay, so what's this point here? 1.5, isn't it? So it looks about the middle, doesn't it, there? Okay, what about CD? Can you put in E now? Put answer E in. I'll wait for you to do that one. You tried yourself. So we want CD. I will draw the line because some of you don't have a tablet. So CD. Oh, easy one. What about that? So what's the middle of that point there? So give me that in the chat box as well. Looks to be there, doesn't it? So try that one. We got 20 minutes, so let's go down to some more questions. So do that quickly. So if you count across, you could make a crossing line, but obviously it's going to be here, isn't it? That's the middle. So this is 1 unit, -1, -2. So it's going to be 1 for the X value and -1.5 for the Y value, all right? So across and down. Okay, simple enough. Okay, so put that in. So clear that out. Let's go on. So we don't have to do all these questions. So let's You do question 2 yourself now. We've got, okay, these are not that's not M for midpoint. So this is X1, Y1. So now you use your formula. So call this 2A, question 2A. And this will be your midpoint here. So you put that into your chat box. I'll give you a minute to do that. So call that X1, Y1, X2, Y2. And what were the formulas? So these are what you're going to have to remember. XM, X1 plus X2 on 2, YM, Y1 plus Y2 on 2. All right, stick your numbers in and give me an answer. Do that quick. That's an easy one. I might just do one, then we'll move down. I'm just checking you can do, because we might do something different tomorrow. We'll see how our time goes. Okay, real quick with that one. You might get a fraction answer, so put in the fraction if you need to. Okay, 4 answers. Where's Mimi? Is she asleep? Someone wake her up. So don't sign in and lose points by not writing. Just put something in. Okay, so let's check the answer here. And we've got XM, so let's call it XM, is X1 plus X2, so 8 plus 2 on 2. YM is 1 plus 5 on 2. So 8 plus 2, 10. 10 on 2 is 5. 5 plus 1, 6. 6 on 2, which would be 3. So your midpoint here, so I don't know what you want to call it because I didn't actually give it a letter. So just call it midpoint. You can call it XM. YM is 5, 3. So you should have gotten 5, 3, right? Okay, yeah, 5, 3. So remember to put the question number 2A in your chat box so I can follow which question you're writing the answer for. So especially if you get the answer wrong, it makes it hard to check where you're up to. So you can do I'll leave a couple because we don't need to do them. They're done the same way. So how about question 3A? What about 3A? M is the midpoint. All right, I'll help you a bit. So this is going to be, say, X1, Y1. You can call it A, B, whatever, it doesn't matter. And this is XM, YM. I want you to find X2, Y2. Okay, you do that. Put that in your chat box here. So this is the point X2, Y2. This is point B. All right. So that's what goes here. And make sure you put the question number 3A. Right, try that one. There'll be a quiz on this stuff when we go back to school, possibly in the first week. So if we go back to school on a Monday, you may get a test on Friday covering what we've done in online so far. So make sure you are understanding and review your homework when I send it back. When I get everyone's work, then I want to return after that so you can check your solution. But you can give me, if you want your score for the homework, you can send me a message. I haven't returned it yet, I don't think, have I? So if you want your score, I can send you in line. You ask me in line what your score is, and I'll let you know for the homework. Because I want to get everyone's work back before I return any work. Same for grade 9. Okay, got some answers, 4. So stick something in. At least Napad's doing something. Good. Napad, I need your homework. Get it to me quick. Okay, so we've got question 3A. So just write your formula again. And xm is x1 plus x2 on 2. It's just the average of the x coordinates, isn't it? And ym, y1 plus y2 on 2. So we got xm. So now you've got 0 equals -5 plus y2 on 2. And this one is -1 equals 0 plus y2 on 2. That should be x2, shouldn't it? So let's just check that. Yeah, okay. So now this would be 0 equals -5 plus x2. So x2 should be 5. So you should have 5 for the first number. This is point B. And this one, 2 times -1, -2 equals 0 plus y2. So y2 is -2. So you should get -2 for that point. That's point B. And M is the midpoint, okay? And you can try this one yourself. I'm just leaving some for extra practice. So if you want to study for your quiz, these are the ones you can do that I'm not doing in class, that you're not doing. So you can do that for more practice. Okay, these are 2 circle problems. So we got 10 minutes, let's do a couple more. We'll probably finish tomorrow. So AB is the diameter of a circle with center C. Let's kind of draw the picture, shall we? Roughly. So you should sketch the picture. A is 3, -2. So this is point A. What's point B? -1, -4. -1, 2, 3, 4, about here. So this is B, -1, -4. And it says AB is a diameter of the circle. Now, if it's a diameter, you will pass through the center. Okay, this is the diameter line. So if it's a diameter, you're going to go through the center, aren't you? Which obviously will give you the center of the circle, will be the midpoint. So this is the center. Find the coordinates of C with center C. So you've got a circle here. I wonder if I can draw a circle and let's see if that's good or not. Bit big. Yeah, something like that. Okay, so we got a circle. We got the diameter line. Now you calculate for me the midpoint, which is the center. Okay, so this is question 4. So in your chat, so this is question 4. So C what? So your answer should look like that. Can you put that in if you haven't done it yet? We only have about 9 minutes. So just calculate the middle point, which is C, which is the center, obviously. Okay, so put that into your chat box. Practice doing them fairly quickly. Once you understand it, it will get quicker. So I get C there, that's this point here. Question 5 is similar. I'll leave it for you to practice that one. Okay, so do 4, and then we'll see what's happening with our time. Okay, give me some answers for C. Same formula, midpoint formula. Okay, be quick. So don't do 5 yet. Just have a look down to question 6. I'm not sure what it is. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, you can try 6. While you're waiting for me, can you look at question 6? If you've already finished, go to question 6. We'll skip 5 now because it's a circle question. So let's leave that for now. Okay, got 5 answers. Okay, should we check the answer? If you haven't done it, do it quickly. So that can be xm, which will be -1 + 3 on 2. This is ym, real quick. I saw some more answer coming, so do that quickly. So that would be -4 + -2 on 2. So -6 on 2 will be -3. And that's 3 minus 1, 2. 2 on 2 is 1. So your midpoint here would be 1, -3. That's what you should have for the answer there. 1, -3. Yeah, looks okay. So let's go down a bit. Skip 5, it's a circle problem, same idea. Now, parallelograms. Important thing about parallelograms and the rhombuses. I don't think there's rhombi. I don't know if that's plural for rhombuses. So parallelogram. Now, parallelogram and rhombus are quite similar. So have I got a shape for that? Not using the highlighter though. Let's make a black shape. Now, I think about, let's do the easy one. That's a parallelogram. Okay. So, but if I make the shape to have the same lengths, that would be a rhombus. Right. So let's call that one a rhombus. These are the same. So you can write this down because many of you probably forgot. RHOMBUS, rhombus, where these lengths are the same. And these two sides are parallel and parallel. So 2 pairs of parallel sides. But the only difference to a parallelogram is the sides may be a different length. So here I've got my rhombus again, but if I stretch it in any direction or change the angle, all of this is a parallelogram. Okay, so I make it really long. This is a special parallelogram. This is a rhombus, right? But this is still a parallelogram, all right? But if I change the shape, yeah, that's what we traditionally think is the parallelogram, parallel sides. So these lengths will be equal, but these ones may be different. They may be shorter, okay? Now, think about the angles. We'll talk a bit about the angles now. If you have a rhombus, now that should be a right angle. My picture's not very good, but you should get a right angle in there, okay? But obviously in a parallelogram, they will not be a right angle. So let me put 2 lines in and you will see that. Let's put them in. Let's put in the diagonals. So that one, and let's put this one in. We only got a few minutes. We might do the question a bit later. Tomorrow, that one there. But you can see here that this angle is not 90, is it? Definitely not 90. So this is not 90 degrees and neither is this angle. So the rhombus, you'll end up with a right angle in the middle because these lengths are equal. So important thing about parallelogram and rhombus, for this problem here, these two lengths are equal and this length will be equal to this one. In the rhombus, I'd have to check on this one. I think they're different as well. So these two are equal lengths and these two are equal. But that there is the midpoint. That's the important thing. So this is the midpoint of the diagonal. So this one. So this is the midpoint and this is the midpoint as well. And the same for this one. So in this question, we'll do this tomorrow because we only have 2 minutes left. They bisect each other, means they cross over. We want to find coordinates of D, this here. So, and I just mentioned that X is the midpoint of AC. So we could calculate, so find X first. You can't get D yet, impossible. You can't find D yet. We need to find this midpoint. And that midpoint is the midpoint of AC. And it's also the midpoint of BD. So find X. Do you want to do that now yourself? X is the midpoint, but don't put in the chat box. Don't confuse me. So don't put this one in the chat. X is the midpoint of AC. And it's also the midpoint of BD. So a couple of notes here. X is also the midpoint of BD. BD, okay. And that idea, so once you know X, we can get D because we know B already. So the first thing you look at is this line here because we know these coordinates already, which means that you can find X. So find X first, and then use that number and B to find D as the second answer. I think we ran out of time, but we'll finish this one tomorrow. Okay, I see you tomorrow. And then how many other questions are there? 10, 9. They get a little bit more complicated, so we may do some tomorrow. And then on the next 2 periods, we'll go back to matrices and do some multiplication for that. Okay, so let's stop there. And I'll talk to you tomorrow anyway, and we'll finish this question up and we'll do some harder ones. Okay, all right. So let's stop the share. All right, I'll talk to you tomorrow then. So matrix homework is due Tuesday night, tomorrow night. So a good idea will be to finish that as soon as possible. Okay, all right. I'll see you later. Bye-bye. Have a good day.
Thank you, teacher.
Thanks. See ya.